For most of human history, the universe was not seen as a machine. It was seen as something alive. Long before equations, instruments, and telescopes, ancient cultures across the world described reality as conscious. Not metaphorically, but literally. They believed the cosmos was not an empty container filled with matter, but an expression of mind itself. This idea did not begin as philosophy. It began as observation. Ancient people noticed that the same patterns appeared everywhere, in the movement of stars, in the cycles of seasons, in the growth of plants, in the rhythms of the human body, in thought itself. Reality seemed structured, ordered, intentional, as if guided by an underlying intelligence. To them, this was not coincidence. It was evidence. Across Egypt, Mesopotamia, Greece, India, and early mystical traditions, the universe was described as a living system, a vast thinking order in which everything participated. Not a god sitting outside creation, but intelligence woven into creation itself. This is why ancient texts speak of harmony, logos, cosmic order, and divine reason. These were not poetic abstractions. They were attempts to describe a reality that felt responsive, patterned, and aware. In Hermetic philosophy, this idea was expressed through a simple but radical principle. The universe is mental, not imagined, not subjective, but structured by mind at its deepest level. This did not mean that the universe thinks like a human. It meant that consciousness precedes form. That matter emerges from intelligence, not the other way around. To the ancient mind, matter was the last layer, not the first. This perspective changes everything. If the universe is a living mind, then existence is not accidental. Patterns are not random, and consciousness is not an anomaly produced by dead matter. It is the foundation from which matter arises. This is why early thinkers did not ask, how did consciousness evolve from matter? They asked, how did matter condense from consciousness? This question guided entire civilizations. In Egyptian cosmology, creation begins not with a physical explosion, but with awareness emerging from the primordial waters. In Greek thought, logos, reason or ordering intelligence, permeates all things. In Gnostic traditions, reality unfolds through emanations of consciousness, each layer becoming denser, more structured, more limited. These traditions did not deny the physical world. They saw it as the visible expression of something invisible. The universe, in this view, is not a collection of objects. It is a process, a continuous unfolding of intelligence into form. This is why ancient wisdom often speaks of the world as speaking, teaching, or revealing itself. Not through words, but through structure, through pattern, through correspondence. The same ratios appear in galaxies and shells. The same rhythms appear in breath and tides. The same geometries appear in crystals and living cells. To ancient observers, this was not poetic coincidence. It was language. The universe was communicating through form. This idea explains why ancient traditions place such importance on number, geometry, and proportion. They believed these were not human inventions, but universal principles, the grammar of reality itself. Sacred geometry was not symbolic art. It was an attempt to map the intelligence behind creation. If the universe is alive, then geometry is its structure. If the universe is conscious, then pattern is its expression. This view also reshapes the human role. If reality is a living mind, then consciousness within humans is not separate from it. It is localized expression, a lens through which the universe experiences itself. This is why ancient texts often describe humans as microcosms, small reflections of the greater whole. Not rulers of nature, not outsiders, but participants. The human mind, in this framework, is not isolated. It is nested within a larger field of awareness. This is not mysticism detached from observation. Even early natural philosophers noticed that perception itself shapes experience, that attention organizes reality, that meaning emerges not from objects alone, but from relationship. Ancient thinkers intuited something modern science is only now beginning to question, that consciousness may not be confined to the brain, that awareness might be fundamental, that the universe might not be indifferent. In this worldview, creation is not finished, it is ongoing. The universe is not a static structure built once and left alone. It is dynamic, responsive, evolving, not toward randomness, but toward complexity, coherence, and self-recognition. This is why many ancient traditions describe reality as learning itself, as becoming aware of its own structure through living forms. Stars give rise to elements. Elements give rise to life. Life gives rise to awareness. Awareness reflects on the universe. And through this reflection, the universe knows itself. This is not a metaphor meant to comfort. It is a framework meant to explain why existence appears ordered, meaningful, and intelligible at all. If reality were not structured by intelligence, there would be no reason for the mind to understand it. No reason for mathematics to describe nature so precisely. No reason for thought to align with the laws of the cosmos. Yet it does, again and again. This led ancient traditions to a conclusion that feels radical even today, that the universe and consciousness are not separate domains. They are different expressions of the same underlying principle. Mind is not something that appears inside the universe. The universe appears inside mind. This idea does not negate science. It reframes it. Instead of studying dead matter from the outside, it suggests we are studying expressions of an intelligent process from within. And this reframing sets the stage for the most difficult question of all, one that ancient traditions wrestled with deeply. If the universe is a living mind, what does that make us? If the universe is a living mind, then human consciousness is not an accident inside it. It is a function of it. Ancient traditions did not see the human mind as something sealed inside the skull. They saw it as a localized expression of a greater field, a point where universal intelligence becomes aware of itself through experience. This is why so many early teachings insist that knowing the universe and knowing yourself are not separate pursuits. To understand reality was to understand the structure of consciousness itself. In Hermetic thought, this relationship was described through correspondence. What exists on the large scale reflects what exists on the small, not as imitation, but as pattern repeated across levels. The same principles operate everywhere, expressed differently depending on scale. This is why ancient texts describe the human being as a bridge, not between heaven and earth as places, but between levels of awareness. The body anchors perception to form. The mind organizes experience into meaning. Awareness observes both. This triad appears again and again across ancient cultures because it describes how experience actually unfolds. Sensation arises. Thought interprets. Awareness witnesses. What made this insight revolutionary was not its spirituality, but its implication, that awareness itself is not created by the body, but temporarily expressed through it. Ancient thinkers noticed something subtle, but undeniable. Thoughts change, emotions change, sensations change. Even personality evolves over time, yet something remains present throughout all of it, the simple fact of being aware. This observing presence does not age, it does not accumulate, it does not require effort, it simply is. To ancient observers, this was evidence that awareness belongs to a deeper layer of reality than physical form. The body is born, grows, and dissolves. Awareness remains constant through every change. This does not mean awareness floats freely without structure. It means it operates through structure. Just as electricity requires a circuit to express itself, awareness requires form to experience. The universe in this view is a vast circuit of intelligence. Galaxies, stars, planets, ecosystems, and minds are all components of a larger system through which awareness moves, organizes, and reflects. This explains why perception matters so deeply. If awareness is fundamental, then the way it focuses shapes reality at every level. Attention becomes creative. Observation becomes participation. Meaning is not imposed onto the universe, it emerges from interaction with it. This is why ancient traditions treated perception as sacred, not because the senses were divine, but because awareness passing through them shaped experience. To see without distortion was considered a form of wisdom. To see through illusion was considered liberation. Illusion, in this context, does not mean hallucination. It means mistaking appearances for essence, confusing form with origin, treating temporary structures as ultimate reality. When awareness identifies completely with the body, it feels small, fragile, isolated. When it identifies with thought, it becomes trapped in narrative. When it identifies with roles, it becomes constrained by expectation. But when awareness recognizes itself as awareness, something shifts. This recognition does not remove you from the world. It places you in it differently. You still experience sensation. You still think. You still act. But you are no longer collapsed into what passes through you. Ancient texts describe this shift as awakening, not because something new appears, but because something false relaxes. The grip of identification loosens. Awareness becomes spacious. This spaciousness was not considered escape. It was considered alignment. If the universe is a living mind, then clarity of awareness aligns you with its structure. Resistance creates friction. Recognition creates flow. This idea appears across traditions in different language. Some speak of harmony, some speak of order, some speak of alignment with the way, some speak of logos. But they all point to the same insight, that intelligence governs reality, and awareness functions best when it moves with that intelligence rather than against it. This does not mean passive acceptance, it means clear participation. Ancient thinkers understood that suffering often arises not from reality itself, but from misalignment, from resisting impermanence, from clinging to form, from mistaking identity for essence. When awareness believes it is separate from the universe, it experiences fear. When it recognizes itself as expression of it, fear loses its grip. This is not philosophical comfort, it is experiential. Many ancient practices were designed not to teach belief, but to stabilize awareness in this recognition. Meditation, contemplation, ritual, geometry, rhythm, and silence were all tools, not to worship the universe, but to perceive it clearly. Clarity was the goal, because clarity reveals structure, and structure reveals intelligence. This is why ancient traditions often spoke of listening rather than seeking. The universe was not something to be conquered or decoded. It was something already communicating, through cycles, through patterns, through recurrence. The human mind, when quiet enough, could detect these patterns. When the noise of constant identification settles, awareness begins to sense order beneath chaos. Not control, but coherence. Life begins to feel less random, not predictable, but intelligible. This recognition also reframes human creativity. Thought, imagination, insight, these are not anomalies inside a dead universe. They are natural expressions of a reality structured by intelligence. The universe thinks through you, not as an idea to inflate the ego, but as a reminder of participation. Your awareness is not outside reality observing it. It is inside reality expressing it. This is why ancient traditions warned against arrogance as much as ignorance. Identification with being special collapses awareness just as much as identification with being small. The goal was balance, clear perception without self-importance. This balanced awareness was considered the highest form of knowledge. Not knowing facts, but knowing how to see. And this brings us to the threshold of the final question, the one ancient traditions treated with the most care. If the universe is a living mind and awareness expresses through us, what is the universe becoming aware of? If the universe is a living mind, then awareness is not static. It moves, not through space, but through complexity, through recognition, through depth. Ancient traditions believe that the universe is not merely expanding outward, but unfolding inward, becoming increasingly capable of perceiving itself. Matter organizes, life emerges, consciousness reflects, awareness turns back upon its own source. This movement is not random, it has direction. The ancients described this direction as a return, not to a place, but to understanding. Not backward in time, but inward in awareness. Creation was not seen as a mistake to escape, nor as a prison to endure, but as a process through which intelligence comes to know itself. In this view, the universe is not finished, it is becoming, and human consciousness plays a crucial role in that becoming. Not as rulers, not as observers standing outside reality, but as points where awareness becomes reflective. When awareness experiences itself as separate, it explores limitation. When it recognizes itself as connected, it explores coherence. Both are movements within the same process. This is why ancient texts never describe enlightenment as abandoning the world. They describe it as seeing through it, understanding its structure without being trapped by its surface. To them, the universe was not something to escape, but something to understand clearly. This clarity changes how life is lived. If reality is intelligent, then meaning is not imposed. It is discovered. If awareness is fundamental, then existence is not accidental. If consciousness is woven into the fabric of the cosmos, then every experience participates in something larger than itself. This does not eliminate suffering, but it reframes it. Suffering becomes friction, the signal of misalignment, not punishment, not failure, but information, a call toward deeper coherence. Ancient wisdom taught that alignment does not mean perfection, it means honesty. Seeing clearly where awareness contracts, where it clings, where it resists movement. Every contraction reveals where identity has hardened. Every resistance reveals where awareness has forgotten itself. And every moment of recognition loosens that grip. In this sense, awakening is not a single event. It is a gradual reorientation. Awareness stops asking, "How do I control reality?" and begins asking, "How do I align with its intelligence?" This shift is subtle but profound. Life begins to feel participatory rather than hostile. Uncertainty becomes spacious rather than threatening. The unknown becomes a frontier rather than a void. Ancient traditions believe that the universe responds to clarity, not as reward, but as resonance. When awareness aligns with structure, experience flows. When it resists, experience fragments. This is not superstition, it is observation. Just as sound resonates with certain frequencies, awareness resonates with coherence. The more clearly it perceives, the more it moves with the grain of reality rather than against it. And this brings the entire series to its quiet conclusion. Consciousness is not an accident. Life is not meaningless. Death is not a collapse into nothingness. They are movements within a larger intelligence, an intelligence that expresses through form, through experience, and through awareness recognizing itself. The universe is not indifferent, it is learning. And through you, it is aware. Not because you are special, but because awareness expresses wherever it can. The invitation offered by ancient wisdom is simple. Live as if awareness matters. Observe rather than cling. Participate rather than resist. Remember rather than forget. Because in remembering, awareness moves closer to its source, not by leaving the world, but by seeing it clearly. And perhaps that is the deepest meaning behind the oldest insight humanity ever preserved. That the universe is not something you are in. It is something you are part of. Follow the Midnight Library for stories from the edge of history, faith, and the mysteries that still shape humanity. And if the music in this film speaks to you, you can also follow the Midnight Library music, where these ideas continue through sound.